All right, and we back on another episode of the Main Event Podcast, baby. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube as we continue to bring you nothing but the best inside, outside the sport of boxing. I'm one of your hosts, Tawan Butler. I'm sitting right here. How y'all been? I'm Kansas City'd out. We gonna repeat. That ain't got nothing to do with what we talking about. I just had to put it out there. And then my other left, I got my co-host, Mike Risper. You know, he gonna give you that laugh because he don't want to see me repeat, but it's all good.
I'm just saying.
What's happening with you, Mike?
I don't even know if they're gonna make it to the final
you can't
dance.
Keep saying
but you know,
that, man. One thing.
However it happened, you know, if you win, that's good. But if you don't,
there's
don't
one
say you
thing
ain't heard
I
it
know
first
about
here.
life. I'm 40 years old, and I've seen a lot of things in life. And if there's one thing I know, when it's your time, it's your time, baby. When it's your time to shine, it's your time to shine. You can't do nothing about that. You just in your moment.
Well, just think about that. What you said.
This is my moment.
You the youngest one on the set. Doc.
Yeah, I am.
We ain't been through that.
But I also done recognize when it's in people's time, it's your time. You can't do nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? But that's another thing. We're gonna do a whole boxing podcast on my Chiefs, man. That's just
I know this.
I'm
is
that diehard.
thing.
And they coming to my city in Vegas too.
It's an ongoing thing.
And the champs coming to Vegas this weekend.
You see me Monday and we'll talk.
We can talk Sunday night after the game, baby. We can do what we gotta do. But anyway, this is the Main Event Podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. And last few shows, Mike, it's been me and you. We've been chopping it up. We gave great dialogue. That last video about the Terence Crawford fight, that was our most successful video with just me and you sitting there, man. And I really appreciate that because it took me by surprise. I'm like, okay, but what we do different in this video that we didn't do different in this video.
Right.
But we just gonna keep grinding and do what we gotta do.
That's it.
But now let's get to the man in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Because it's me, it's you, and it is my man in the middle.
In the middle.
And I'm gonna say his name. But if his name don't move you, his resume gonna move you. You know what I'm saying? So I got my man Antonio Leonard, been my big homie forever. And I say Antonio Leonard. Y'all might be like, well, who is that? But all the brothers in the background is really making all the noise. Y'all just don't know. So Antonio Leonard, let me run down his resume real quick. He done worked with the likes and brought him to world championship status. Let's drop the names, Mike. Andre Ward. Floyd Mayweather, the late great Diego Corrales, Jeff Lacy in his prime.
All right.
Now, if I'm forgetting anybody, let me say the young up-and-coming Shakur Stevenson.
All right.
And if I'm forgetting anybody after that, let me say Winky, Wright.
Watch out now.
And if I'm forgetting, the list can go on and on when you're talking to a brother like this. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna keep going. All the viewers already know he got to be somebody. I done dropped too many champions. And current champions. And people that's going to rule the game in their weight class for a long time. But I got none other than, you heard the resume, Antonio. I call him Unc because it's my big homie, Leonard. What's up, big homie?
I'm good, but you done told everybody how old I am now.
No, but you you my big homie. You know, I got a great deal of respect for this man because my success in boxing, I get a lot of game from this man right here, and he helped me play chess in the background when I need to do certain deals. I hit Unc like, hey, Unc, they doing this, what should I do? I call him, he's like, nephew, would you need to do this? They need two people to fight, stand firm on your number, they gonna pay you now.
Right.
I'm like, all right, I'm gonna play hard, bro. Now 20 and I, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, but what's going on, Unc? How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm just blessed, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm still hanging in here. The youngsters won't let me get old. You know, we out here now. You know, in Vegas, you know, you mentioned his name, Shakur Stevenson. He got a fight coming up December the 12th at the MGM. So we look forward to that. It's gonna be on ESPN. Okay. Right now, I think the guy's name Toka Khan.
Okay.
That's Toka Khan, Kahn.
Okay.
So that's gonna be on December the 12th. He pretty good. Got a pretty good record. You know, I think he had right at about 30 fights, but. You know, he will be another victim now. Question about that.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
doesn't matter how he go, but he gonna go.
You know, there's a lot we want to talk about on the Main Event Podcast, but before we get into the meat and potatoes, I want to just dive into your career for a few minutes before we get to the other subjects. So for people who's wanting to be managers, trying to get into the game, it seemed like, how do you y'all keep coming up with the top-notch fighters all the time. So how do you get control of these fighters? Because the one thing I appreciate how y'all do it, you get them young. These ain't somebody you just meet and have dinner and be like, okay, let's do it. Here go your contract. You've been knowing these champs since teenagers. So how does that work? And how do you make it last for so long?
Well, now I done got a little bit more easier now since the first fight I ever promoted. A lot of people think I manage fighters, but I actually promote fighters. My partner James Prince, he managed fighters, but I promote fighters. So the difference is the promoter do the paying, the manager get the promoters to pay. So the manager never lose. The promoters, it's a hit and miss. Right. But when you become a rock star, Floyd Mayweather is, all the hard work gonna pay out for a promoter. Yeah. Whatever he missed in 30 years, he can make in 1 year.
Right, yeah, exactly.
If you have a likes of a Floyd Mayweather. And I would definitely say Shakur Stevenson, whether he make $1 billion or not, I would say he definitely on the same path. And they classify Shakur Stevenson. And that's hard to compare him to Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. But a lot of people say it's that.
It is.
Yeah. But getting to your question of recruiting, it's no different than, I look at the youngsters and the amateurs, and if they you follow USA Boxing and you study the game, and if they doing very good and won a lot of national tournaments and tournaments out of the country, and and their resume speak good, and pretty much with amateur boxing is just like professional athletes that make it to the pro, and they was the best like in high school, whether they played basketball, baseball, or football. If you was pretty much the best in basketball, you go get highly recruited by a good college. Right, what I'm saying? Right. They don't let them come straight out of high school no more in basketball and football, but you can believe that at one time, the Kobe Bryants and LeBron, they came straight out of high school. But that's kind of the method that you use. You study their amateur career, and then once you get a lot of good fighters under your umbrella, some of the fighters and they trainers, they reach out to you if they see you doing a good job with other fighters. So that's that kind of the way it works, but you have to go out there and get them now.
No, yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because there's two fighters particularly that I'm curious about, because y'all, and I believe the second fighter y'all gonna have the same long-lasting relationship through the duration of his career was Andre Ward and Shakur Stevenson.
Correct.
Y'all got Andre Ward when he was 13, 14, if I'm not mistaken, and Shakur too.
Yeah. Well, let's just say I can't quite recall how old Andre Ward is, but I met Andre Ward back in probably 2000.
Okay.
And then, when he was an amateur. And then he wasn't, next time I reached out to his trainer, which is Virgil Hunter, that was back in 02. And Andre was living like in Seattle then, he I think him and his wife now, but back then that was his girlfriend, or maybe fiance, but I say girlfriend because they were so young, but they had a kid, and we got involved with him, and he's the blueprint for a lot of fighters. He a very good Christian brother. He walked the talk and walked the walk.
I remember you and Jay told me y'all was like, man, there's not a lot of deals he gonna do because of his strong belief and with his faith. He'll turn down. He don't care what the amount of money is. If it ain't aligning with his faith, he ain't touching it.
Yeah, they respect that.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
They announced him a lot of money right when he was retired, but not that long. Then they offered him and brought up a conversation with what is the possibility if you could fight Canelo, after he fought beat Kovalak and beat him twice. That came up and the money was crazy. And Dre walked away from it.
What?
Yeah. Most people, because he still got the first dollar he ever met, Andre Ward.
I heard that. I heard y'all good with his money.
Got the first dollar.
He's good with his money. You know what I'm saying? So I try to use him for example. For all the young, up and coming fighters that's coming up. And because if you want to do it and do it the right way and study the game, I always used to say it was 3 things in his life that I know he does. That's family. That's boxing, and that's God. You know what I'm saying? He's a very strong Christian.
Yeah, no, he is.
He gonna do those.
He lets it be known every time.
Yeah. He gonna have to line up in that, and then the money.
And then the money.
But if it don't line up in them categories, he ain't gonna make the money.
That's a very high compliment.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially when somebody can remember you and put your faith in line with your character. That's a high compliment. You can't do nothing but take your hat off to
Andre
him.
Ward's true champ, though.
Yeah,
True champ. You know what I mean? I hope he would have came back and fought Canelo. I mean, you know, Nello my boy.
Well, that's your boy.
Nello my boy right
you know
now.
what would have happened to your boy, right?
To me right now.
You
Nello
know
my
what
boy.
You know what would have happened to your boy.
We wanted some Canelo, you know, when he thought he was hot, but he didn't want that smoke.
Yeah,
you know?
He didn't want that smoke.
Hey,
I'm trying to tell you.
You know what? Dre probably the only person that would.
Yeah.
That's it. Ain't nobody else beat. Now that we got you here, let me ask you this. We talking about a brother from Texas, and he know these boys better than anybody.
Okay.
Canelo, my boy, right? I'm riding with Nello. Only loss on his resume is from Floyd, and it's going to stay that way.
Correct.
I don't see him losing another fight, no matter who's in his weight class, till he decides to retire. Now, he done left Oscar now.
Correct.
And now he looking for a big fight. You know he politicking to fight one of the Charlos after he get this knock the dust off fight.
Correct.
Right? Now, I told Mike that Canelo wouldn't have no problems with neither Charlo. Now, what do you think about that? And you from Texas, so I'm pretty sure you've been knowing these boys for a long time.
Yes. I would say, I'll put it like this. Canelo, you know, styles make fight.
Yes, sir.
Well, one thing I would say is that them Charlo brothers gonna be the toughest fight he ever had.
Hey, I mean,
I would
I'm
say
not
that.
saying it ain't gonna be tough.
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't say it was gonna be easy.
That ain't the first time you heard that, right?
No, I heard it from you.
Them exact words.
I heard it from you.
I mean, like,
but
almost
I still
like,
see the
almost as if I recorded them, he heard them and said them again.
Yeah.
It was that accurate.
Let me ask you this: Was Madonna's fight? Floyd thought it was tough the first time, but who won? It was a tough fight.
Well, it was a tough fight the way the people viewed it. The way I looked at that fight, I knew the second fight was going to be way easier. Because if you know boxing,
yes,
Madonna was there, but Floyd was hitting him with everything.
Everything.
They should have stopped it because he had no chance of winning. The money was made after that whooping went down for 7 to 8 rounds. Why take it anymore?
Why take it anymore?
Ain't no hope.
Yeah.
But if Canelo had to fight one of the Charlo brothers, and based on what I know, it's a better chance of Canelo getting knocked out than the Charlo boy. Because I say they hit harder.
I try to tell him.
They hit harder.
I can't see that. You
They hit
gonna
harder.
with Canelo fighting, I'm one of them people you're gonna have to shoot me to let me know it hurt when Canelo fighting.
I'm
I'm betting every time.
I would say what a lot of people see, I say Canelo is a great fighter depending on the styles that fight him. A great fighter that box great, because I'm thinking he fought Laura. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people say,
that style didn't make him look good.
That fight.
Style didn't make Canelo look good. You right?
There was some questions there to say, you know.
I mean, truth be told, Austin Trout looked good against him outside of that knockdown.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
But
I
we
would
still
say
talking about Nello, man. That's you know what I mean?
Close fight. And if you had to, you know, I done seen a lot of people win in the ring and don't get the decision.
Yeah.
Because of
you know
who
how
you
go.
are.
Yeah, you know how it goes.
So I would say if you don't do a dominant performance against Canelo, he probably going to get the decision.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Because a lot of people think the other boy won the first fight,
Triple G.
Triple G.
But he didn't, though. Not
Now,
to me.
I think it could. The draw was the right decision, but if they would have said Triple G, you could have said you can see that too.
Yep.
And if they would have said Canelo, but there's no question Canelo won the second fight.
I mean, oh yeah, for sure. But even on that first fight, to me, because I watched it a couple times, when it come out, the Main Event Podcast, baby, like and subscribe on YouTube. But I watched that fight a couple times, and to me, did Triple G run the first couple rounds of the fight? For sure. Did Canelo close the show for the last 4 rounds? Yeah. Okay. So if he won 3 rounds, and he won 3 rounds, you feel me? You can't tell me Canelo lost every round between 4 and 8.
Well,
he didn't lose every round. Yeah. And if he wins one of them rounds, he won the fight.
Well, we just saying.
I know. I'll just be ready to go there. Yeah. I'll just be ready.
We just saying.
But you gotta understand, you looking at it from a very biased point of view.
Not at all.
You know what I'm saying?
Not at all.
So
Not at all.
you know, you gotta
Want me
really
tell you where it's
look
not
at
biased? Want me to tell you where I'm not biased?
where
I'll
it's
give you
not
another
biased.
fight. Then we're going to dive into these other fights we need to
we're
talk
gonna
about.
stick to the biasness of Canelo. Tell me another one with Canelo.
No, Canelo, I was going somewhere else.
Okay,
where you know me to be biased.
Okay.
Right? But I can tell you he lost, but because of who he was, he got it. And Ungnip was probably with him. I ain't going to have him attest to it, but the word in the streets, when he first fought Castillo, Floyd Mayweather. Now, keep in mind, he only really rematched people who probably really fought him good. So that's the only time he come. Now, to me, I'm a fan of the sport. I'm a Floyd fan.
I had Floyd on both fights.
No. The second time, the second time for sure.
Yeah, I had him on
but
both
that
fights.
first one, but it don't matter. It's the past.
Here's the thing. You know, you hear a lot in people's opinions. Fans don't always know how to watch a fight and get the pureness out of the fight.
For sure.
Right.
When I went back and I watched that fight, I said to myself, I don't know how they even act like this fight was as close as they say. He won this fight too. So it wasn't like,
I agree with that.
I had him on both fights.
Saying,
and
that was mine.
Second fights, he just pulled ahead so far. It was just,
Yeah.
But that's how it go. I mean, I'm just saying that's why I bring in my expertise on the situation, because I honestly thought, the scorecards look one way. Floyd won, but I thought personally, but hey, sometimes you get the coin toss on the good night depending on who you win.
And sometimes
audience, that's what it is.
Sometimes the audience will be hoo-ha and the person missing.
Oh yeah,
and
you
be
the
thinking like
the
they
audience.
landing and they not landing.
That's like a Pacquiao fight.
Ah.
Pacquiao land one punch and 17 glove punches, the whole stadium going crazy. That's just how it goes.
So,
but let's dive into these other
There you
fights,
go.
man, while we got the man here. You feel me? Because we really want to hear what he got to say about this fight right here. It was on the Terence Crawford undercard. You know what I'm saying? We going to go with, what was his name? Do we remember? Look, I Google it right here on the spot. Don't nobody know. I got him. We going to call him. Live on the Main Event Podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. You got to know all your info if you going to talk about it. Ain't that right, huh?
That's right.
That's how we got to do it. So we going to call these two brothers right here on the undercard, Joshua Franco and Andrew Moloney.
Mm-hmm. I happened to be at that fight. I had two young kids fighting on the undercard. So I was actually, at that fight. Mm-hmm. And, I was there, and based on what I seen, and it took them 25 to 30 something minutes, when I was at the fight, I noticed the guy eye closing in the second round, and I never see nobody eye close like that, that quick, because I didn't see that much action going on in the fight.
Right.
Yeah.
And I noticed this in the second round. I was like, man, what happened to his eye? I mean, did he come in the ring with his eye looking like that already? Because his eye should be looking like that.
Right.
Yeah. And so later on, I think was in the third round, they happened to stop the fight. And then going through the situation. Now, like I said, I wouldn't really focus all the way in on the fight because there was a rematch. Mm-hmm. They fought once before, so I didn't see nobody getting knocked out within 1 or 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah.
So my expertise, I can be at a fight, and if it ain't one of my fights, it ain't like I'm really paying attention. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, when they got round to the 7th, 8th, 9th round,
you gonna start watching.
I knew it was gonna be some heat
Right.
because the first fight was very good.
Right.
So, but when I did just happen to notice and looked up, it wasn't because so much action was going on. I was like, man, that brother out there looking right, Mm-hmm. So to make a long story short, they said it was caused by a headbutt. Now, if the headbutt happened in the first round or the second round, like I said, I wasn't paying attention.
But the headbutt didn't happen.
I wouldn't have knew.
The headbutt didn't happen.
No, it didn't.
But based on the replays, and I didn't look at the replay in all fairness.
I did.
You did?
Yeah,
I did too.
The 11,000 times they replayed it on ESPN.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I know
Everybody
there's
seen
a
them.
difference in a headbutt and heads touching.
Yeah.
So I would assume it don't take 30 minutes They said a
That's
headbutt
right.
that happened. Yeah,
And there's only 3 rounds. So how
There's only 3 rounds.
Right.
Well, my take is they need 30 minutes to tell you it wasn't.
Yeah.
But-
That's
but-
what I would.
So,
It wasn't a punch.
So, just to be clear, this is a new rule or new way of determining whether a fighter got headbutted or damaged by a punch. So they can replay now. Is that something
Correct.
they just put in, right?
Well, they have came up with accidental fouls or something that they have a 4th judge also that would look at the replay.
Okay.
So they brought that in for decisions like this.
They had an experienced
So,
ref looking
yeah,
at the
they
replay
had
too.
that.
I ain't gonna say his name.
You know, so
He was experienced.
I would definitely say, based on, taking so long, if it was a clear headbutt, it ain't gonna take that long
Right,
to
right.
figure out
No.
the headbutt.
Because
So-
go ahead, Mike.
And here's the thing that, coming from a fan point of view. Now I'm looking at. I know you guys got business in boxing. I'm just a fan, right? So I can tell you how I seen it. I seen it as a robbery. It was just. It's
Broad
almost
daylight.
like they knew that there wasn't no headbutt. And they just gonna be persistently keep looking and looking to try to find something that just wasn't there.
Yeah. It's like how you not see the indisputable evidence. He didn't secure the football.
That's right.
He dropped the ball. It's not
Yeah.
a touch. He hit him. They replayed it so many times, and you could see it. It was a little swollen, but it couldn't be from when they said it was the headbutt. The head was on the other side of the body, so it couldn't have been that headbutt, and the shoulder ain't gonna do that. And like the once welterweight champion, big headed, and he know he got a big head. Timothy Bradley, the brother was, he know he got a big head. That's what he do, man. These fighters know. He right up there with Holyfield. They know they used them heads.
Head of the
But-
class.
Head of the class. I see Rockman said it best. But it's like he said when they was commentating the fight. He been fighting for so long, and he been in so many headbutt situations that a headbutt ain't never caused the eye to swell up, never in the history of his career. A punch will. The thumb of the glove and the eye from a punch will swell your eye up, but a headbutt won't.
Yeah. And from what I see, look, I think Moloney should have got the decision, and you were going to do the rematch again anyway. Because right now they talking about the rematch.
Yeah.
And I think if you would have gave Moloney the decision, it's 1-1, because the boy whooped him pretty bad the first fight. And he came on late and won that fight. So even in the first fight, Moloney was doing great. So with that being said, the fight was going to get better around the 7 or 8 rounds.
Like you said, you knew you
Anyway.
was going to start paying
So
attention.
I think the right decision, and I think, Bob even got a good point. I think the decision should have went to
hot.
Moloney,
Bob was
and
hot.
they should do the rematch anyway.
Yeah, Bob was very upset.
Bob was upset.
I think they
Bob
should do
was
the
ready to
rematch.
fight.
Yeah, he
I
was
was going to pay
But
pay-per-view to
he
see
had every
Bob
right
fight.
to be upset. Though.
Yeah, for sure.
Every right.
I mean, when you know your fighter clearly hit the other fighter, and it's because of this punch that made his eye swell. It wasn't an accidental nothing. I get
Right.
the rules. Anything happen in 4 rounds, headbutt, cut, then it just goes on. It's a no contest.
Yeah. And it's great corner work because they know the rules. If they know it was a headbutt, let's stop the fight before 4 rounds. Because once it get into the 4th round, they gonna go to the scorecard.
It's over.
Even if it's a headbutt. So they know the guy was winning, and even if they'd have stopped it in the 5th round, they would have went to the scorecard because they gotta complete 4 rounds. Once 4 rounds is completed, whether it was a headbutt or not, once they got to the 5th round, they'd have went to the scorecard, even if they'd have stopped it on a headbutt.
Yeah. I mean, it was, like I said, the fight didn't look all that entertaining, but I was watching, waiting on Terence, and we about to talk about that fight. But, I just, they shouldn't have robbed the boy like that, Mike. I agree with you. They robbed him in broad daylight with the lights on and a couple flashlights.
they robbed that boy.
And a couple flashlights. You know what I'm saying? But, karma will get somebody where they need to be got. It always happens. and
But
we
he looked
move
good.
on.
He came out, and he looked real sharp. He looked good.
But let's talk about the main event. Podcast, like and subscribe on YouTube. But I was really talking about Terence Crawford and Kell Brooks. Now, before the fight played out,
Yep.
How did you see that fight going?
Look, I had the same conversation, special one with Shakur. He's one of Terence is like a mentor to him, and you know he loved Terence that much. But I told Shakur, there's no doubt that Shakur and everybody thought Terence was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
I personally said Terence was going to stop him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just something that I noticed. Terence Crawford, this kid is the toughest man that I ever seen. I mean, I done seen him compete in other sports. He want to win in everything. I done seen him play basketball. He argue on that court like
he Michael
whatever
Jordan
he got
out
to
there,
do to win that game. Same thing in ping pong. Same thing in wrestling. This man is so competitive. And he works at his craft. And like I said, I've been in a lot of training camps with him. I knew, based on what I seen Earl Spence do to Kell Brooks, people can say what they want. Even with that fight, they called that one of Earl Spence's biggest fight. It was gonna be a fight. I told people Earl Spence was gonna stop him too, Kell Brooks. And people didn't believe it. I got close people that said, Tony, oh no, he ain't gonna stop him. Even if he win, at that point, they had that like a 50-50 fight against Kell Brooks and Earl Spence. I didn't see it that way. Yeah. I said he gonna stop.
I think we were saying Earl Spence was gonna get him.
And even though when he stopped him, he wanna fake the eye and all that.
Yeah.
He was finna it was finna be over.
Yeah.
He was just saying, I'm gonna quit on my feet.
Right.
But Terence ain't gonna let him out like that because Terence is different. When Terence starts off, what people say, they think he start off slow. He just figuring out the game plan. He analyzing what you think you gonna do. Now you may get a few shots off in them 1 and 2 rounds.
That's what
By that third round,
that's what I said.
he bringing the smoke.
Yeah,
when you hit him now, either I'm gonna box you to death, or we can say, let's see who hit the hardest.
Okay.
And once he turns southpaw, it's pretty much gonna be a wrap. You know, he gonna dominate. A lot of people ask him all the time why you don't start off southpaw. And he made a statement. He told people, I'm actually right-handed. You know, so I'm a right-handed fighter. So if I can't beat you right-handed, which I should still be able to beat you, but if it's not going the way it need to go, I just go southpaw.
Yeah, because I personally think, we all know on the Main Event Podcast, baby, like and subscribe on YouTube all the time. We all know that Terence Crawford can go orthodox or southpaw. We know that, and he can do it at will. So when he came out orthodox, I think he was just giving Kell Brooks some false hope. He gave that, but he thought the jab was looking good. He thought he was sticking and moving on him. Mike was like, he was giving him the business. And he was looking good.
He was.
But it's like we said, it's boxing. You're going to get hit. It's nothing you can do about that.
Even when he switched to southpaw, he hit him with that straight right. He still got touched.
I mean, you still going to get hit in the southpaw stance.
But my point to you was that he still got touched up a little bit. He got a few more hits than normal. But once he started landing his, it was over. It was nice out.
Yeah. See, I know the inside game so much, and it's almost a disadvantage because I know the game plan on how a lot of fighters think. But the fans don't really know. So when people see, he got touched a little. I mean, it's nothing wrong with that. But it ain't nothing that's out of the game plan of what this pugilist fighter know what he putting together. You know what I'm saying? When you see Floyd and them doing what they doing and the Roy Jones and all that, I mean, they almost know these traps, how they gonna set you up and know what's going on.
So they know, the jab might work a little bit, but I got to set him up anyway.
And it's almost like I will make you get comfortable with making you thinking this is going to keep working.
That false hope.
I mean, there are just some guys that's gifted. And when you're a gifted athlete, and when it comes to boxing, it's different from other sports. A running back could run for 6 touchdowns and they can still lose the game.
Right.
In boxing, can't nobody lose it but you. And when they have some of these guys thinking he may get knocked out, And, you know, that's almost when you're talking about a Florida, Shakur, or Terence, or Andre Ward, or Roy Jones in his prime. That's like saying, can you really find a needle in the haystack? It's going to be hard.
Okay. Yeah.
And if that's the only reason you think he going to lose, if you going to knock him out, those chances are slim because those guys live boxing. And it's not, you know, Shakur Stevenson walks around every day walking, he throwing punches. When we go into the fight, before he goes into the ring, you know, I shouldn't give this away, but he looking at, he may be watching a Pernell Whitaker fight or a Floyd Mayweather fight. That's in the locker room.
That's how he should.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
you know, but I've been around
craft.
a lot of fighters, but he the first one I ever seen do that.
So you know he's serious about his business.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
he's
he
serious.
may say that's what he likes to do. He may want to go in the fight with a fresh fight on his mind, going in there an hour before he go in the ring. You know what I'm saying? But the guys like the Andre Ward and the Floyd Mayweather that I personally know that we would consider greatness. These guys, you know, they live boxing. The Andre Ward, they study boxing. And when they prepare themselves, they get in 130%.
Now, before we jump into who you think gonna win between Terence and Earl Spence, because that's what everybody want to know. That's the only fight anybody want to see. I want to talk a little bit about Shakur Stevenson, just a couple minutes. Now, what weight does Shakur fight at right now?
Well, you know, he started out at featherweight, 126.
Okay.
Now we just moved up to 130.
Okay.
So, like I said, we fight
creeping to my
December the
question
12th.
now. Okay.
And I would say that his career should go like Floyd by the time it's over with. You know, he will be world champion at 26, 30, 35, 40.
35 is the pounds
47.
I want to talk about. The
Yeah.
135 weight class now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of noise in that weight class,
is.
and we know Shakur, you know,
It
he's
is.
sitting below that class, but he ain't far from reaching
is.
with them brothers.
It is.
So now, how long do you think until Shakur goes up there to fight a Lomachenko or a Tank or a Teofimo? Because they under the same umbrella, so that's a possible fight in the near future. So how long do you think before you see Shakur taking them kind of fights?
Well, if any one of them called out Shakur right now, we'll go to 35 right now.
Right now. I believe it. I believe it.
And that go for the 140-pound class, too. If they was to call Shakur out,
Right.
we would fight any of those guys right now.
Right now.
So they safe bet is not to call him out. But since we at 130, everything at 130 got to go.
Everything. I
Everything.
believe that. That boy the truth.
They got to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all.
Everything
you
at
know,
130
Mike,
got to go.
I had to set it up to ask that question.
Everything at 130
You know,
got
we
to go.
talking about Teofimo. We talking about not Santa Cruz.
All I would just say-
Shakur knocked Santa Cruz out, but
I'm gonna throw a name out because he trolls everybody.
Yeah.
Gary Russell.
Yeah.
What is it? Because he's right around that weight class right
Yeah.
now.
Well, you know, I hear Gary Russell, he was talking about beating up Terence Crawford. You know, I think Gary Russell fight 126 or 130.
Right,
He
right.
said he wants to fight Terence Crawford right now.
He just
and
want
was
the money.
serious.
Yeah, he just
But
want
he
the
was
bread.
at least what I hearing him say, he sounds serious.
But my point.
But-
I'm sorry. I'm gonna interrupt.
No,
you.
well, if Gary Russell called out Shakur Stevenson,
we want all the smoke.
we want to smoke.
That's all. That's
all
where
I'm
I was
saying.
getting to.
I don't
Because you
think
know he
Shakur-
calls out
I mean,
everybody.
all of these guys, you know Shakur, and he knows them. So we don't want to call out nobody that ain't in our weight class.
There we go.
If you in our weight class, then and you got the belt, you know we got to have you. Now, once we get the belt at 130, you know anybody that want to come see us, you know, if you want to win the belt, you got to come see us.
That's right.
And, you know, it's just business to us. But, you know, if they, you know, call us out,
Hey.
we ain't going to call none of these guys out, but the guys that got the belt at 130. If you got the belt at 130, Shakur calling you out.
Tank just got the belt at 130, didn't he? He went
Yeah.
to
They at
130 and fought
35.
Sa- Nah, that fight was at
They
30.
got it was a 2-belt fight. It was one at 130 and one at 135. Cruz had the 30 and
I'm thinking the Tank is at 35.
But he fought.
he fights at 135.
He
but
fight
the-
both, but he fought. at 130.
He fought at
Santa
130.
Cruz.
Yeah,
He
Santa Cruz
did.
at
That was a
130.
130-pound fight because people were surprised.
Yeah.
He made the weight.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
People were surprised Tank made the weight because he had trouble making 135.
Well,
when
I
The
think-
winner took both belts.
Yes.
Right.
But I think Tank gonna campaign at 35.
Yeah, I think.
You understand? I think he felt. I mean, Santa Cruz is a great champion, but look at his knockout ratio.
Yeah, for sure.
And
We knew that was
if
gonna
Terence, if Tank made 30, he know he was gonna be stronger than Santa Cruz at 130. You can believe that.
Yeah.
And Tank is probably one of the hardest hitting
Yeah,
guys.
that boy can punch.
At 30 or 35.
Now, what you see him doing with Teofimo? Tank and
Well, like I
Teofimo.
say, most people had Lomachenko beating Teofimo, even though Teofimo done almost pretty much knocked out everybody he done fought. You understand what I'm saying? But people think style. One thing I can say about when that fight took place against Teofimo and Lomachenko, I felt if it went the distance, Lomachenko would probably win the decision. But I also said that to me, and Shakur would say this, I didn't think Lomachenko got the greatest defense. So I knew he could be hit. And when he moved up to 35, I can't recall the fighter, but he got dropped already at 35. Lomachenko been Pedraza. Knocked him down. If that's the person, but I'm sure you know. So I knew that was a great possibility. Now, after the fight took place, and I seen what he was doing, people say if he would have started earlier, he might have would have won the fight. He didn't start early because he was respecting the power of Teofimo and didn't want to get his ass knocked out.
Right,
At least that was in his mind.
Okay.
And he figured since he trained so hard and 135 is easier for him to make, he felt he would, in the later part of the fight, Teofimo would probably be a little tighter than him, and he would dominate that way. But I would definitely say I don't put nothing past Teofimo. The brother, he's a very confident fighter.
Until he fights Shakur Stevenson at 35. Then it's a
Anybody
wrap.
that fights Shakur Stevenson, if you ask me, their ass gonna get their ass tore up.
Right. Well, let me
I
ask
don't
you
care.
this.
I'm gonna say that to any of them.
Hey, well, let me ask you this. We done talked about that fight. Now, let's get into the fight. Everybody want to know because a man of your stature, a man that's been around the business, you know greatness when you see it, you know superstardom when you see it. So let's talk about the what we call that, Mike? The class of boxing, the standard right now. The standard, that's the word I was looking for. The standard at 147 right now is Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. That's all the world want to see. The world don't want to see nothing else. So you put them two boys in the ring. You done seen a lot of fighters in your career. Who do you see winning that fight? And, well, first of all, before you answer that question, answer this on the Main Event Podcast. When do you see that fight happening?
Well,
Business-wise.
business-wise,
Yeah, not fan. We're going to keep the fan
Yeah.
out of this because the Main Event Podcast, they got to know why these boys ain't fighting.
correct. I think at 147, all of them want to fight Manny Pacquiao because they going to make the most money with Manny Pacquiao. That go for Earl Spence, Terence Crawford. They all want to fight Manny.
That's what Terence was saying.
Yeah. So it's depending on who Manny choose to fight. Because if Manny fight Terence Crawford or Earl Spence, he going to lose.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
You understand
Yeah,
what I'm
100%.
saying? I don't see him beating them guys at his age right
Not at
now.
all. Not at all.
So with that being said, I would say Floyd Mayweather said this,
Okay.
that Terence Crawford is pound for pound the best fighter in the world.
Okay.
Floyd Mayweather said this.
Floyd Mayweather said, y'all heard it on the Main Event
Now,
Podcast.
I'm gonna put some respect on Floyd's name. And Earl Spence fight up under the brand of PBC, which is part Floyd Mayweather company because of Al Hamer.
Yes, sir.
Because we all know Floyd Mayweather built PBC,
You know it.
and Floyd Mayweather built Al Hamer
You know
when
it.
it comes to boxing.
You know
We
it.
all know that.
Because all it takes is one good fighter. You get one good fighter, get to holler your name, everybody wants to come work with you.
So, and he is, in my category, if I had to go among all the fighters in the history of boxing, I could say what Muhammad Ali done for boxing, just like I can say what Jordan done for basketball. They created the mindset of saying, you probably worth more than what they willing to pay you. Mm-hmm. And if you stand on it, they will pay a lot to see you lose. Mm-hmm. Just keep with it. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, so with that being said, I would say Floyd Mayweather, to me, is the best fighter of all times. If you had to base it on that. Now, there's a lot of great fighters. Mm-hmm. But if you had to say greatness on greatness on greatness, and I had to say, okay, if we're going to say all these guys are great, Floyd great, Pernell Whitaker great, Andre Ward great, Roy Jones great. Mm-hmm. We could say they all great. But if you had to say...
who's the greatest?
Then you got to say, who made the most money?
That's it.
Then you would have to say...
Floyd and...
if you had to say, well, the person that is great and made the most money, it would have to be Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Because when you put all those guys in the same category, the Roy Jones and the Sugar Ray Leonards and all them, they all made 15 and 20 and $10 million, going back 20 years over boxing. Right. Even when you put Mike Tyson as the greatest, his highest purse was still 20 or $30 million. A lot of those guys made $20 and $30 million. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. In one night. Right. But for Floyd to make what he made in one night.
On several occasions.
You had to say that. And that money is determined by pay-per-view. Yeah. So people paid him that money. Yeah. They didn't just give it to him.
Nah, the people paid.
People had to believe that he was great if 4 million people paid $100.
Yeah, or they believe he was going to lose.
Hey,
they don't know what they paid the money.
They all think Kansas City going to lose, but you keep winning.
You know it. Man, you know what I'm saying?
You know where we at.
Because he know the truth. He know the truth. I ain't got to say
nothing. The quarterback is unbelievable.
Come on, man. When it's your time, it's your time.
He's unbelievable.
No, one thing. Now, the team is great. I love the quarterback. But he talks so much.
Yeah.
He'll make you hate Kansas City.
Well, now, in T defense, he didn't just get on the bandwagon.
No, he been there a long time.
But so you have to think
since 92.
So you have to think about his pain. All the mother years.
Look,
he went through a lot.
He down to me now, but he know the pain.
No. Yeah.
He watched, how many playoff games?
He went through a lot of
watched
pain.
me be hyped running through here like we was gonna win, then we lost.
Yes.
He watched me with my head.
I got you, T.
He ain't tell me it's gonna be okay, champ.
But what got me with him, I tried to agree with him about his team. He still rose up and snapped at me. I said, man, I'm trying to help.
Because it's almost saying you didn't believe until you had to believe. So it won't sound right if you say they not good now. So
no, they great.
You been an intelligent man, Mike. You ain't gonna go and say they ain't good.
Right.
Now, do we know if they gonna win the Super Bowl? We don't know that, but you would say since they won it last year, they probably the favorite to win it this year. Yeah, but they do got a team out there called them Steelers.
No, and Steelers ain't talking about nothing.
They playing.
Steelers ain't talking about nothing.
They could fall off.
They gonna keep winning all the way. They gonna lose at the right time. You ever heard that? They getting ready to go
man, they got a Kansas City hat in jersey on.
Right.
It's supposed to say that.
See, now you see what I'm saying.
But who is undefeated?
That don't mean nothing. You know why? I Google right now how many Chief seasons I done had sitting pretty. 7-0, 8-0, 9-0. Means nothing. They should have lost some of them games. Lucky, I ain't going to go into it because it's boxing. But we need to do a football. But I'm just saying, we know what happened. Pittsburgh should have lost. Sometimes it's your time. No. But they not winning.
It ain't over with until the last bell ring.
Well, look here, right? We on the Main Event Podcast. Okay. If you like the Steelers and if they just happen to meet the Chiefs, just give me a call.
The Steelers ain't my team.
Oh, I know, but
I'm just
making a point.
Making a point that They looking pretty good,
I'ma
and
answer
people
the
didn't
call.
expect them to be 8-0.
No.
People expect y'all to be where y'all at right now.
And
See,
that
that's the
feels good.
difference.
And that feels good.
So people expect for y'all to win it all.
Yeah. And they are right.
That's the difference.
But before we go away,
But ain't nobody expect the Pittsburgh Steelers
No, you right.
to
You
be
right.
8-0 or 9-0 right now.
And just like they didn't expect that, them same people don't expect them to win
Just
the
like
Super
don't
Bowl.
nobody.
But look, before we go away off subject, let's go
And people don't
because you didn't
expect-
answer this question right here.
Back to the question.
Back to the question. Who you see winning? Terence Crawford, Earl Spence.
Now, it's almost now. If you want to say a fight is a 50-50 fight, you can't get no more than 50-50 with the old two guys.
Okay.
Now, Earl Spence do got a fight coming up, and he fighting a pretty good guy in Danny.
Yeah, he is. But I personally think
Now, me personally,
he fighting Danny for a
I
reason.
think that
That's me
fight
personally.
gonna go the distance.
Yeah, Danny season.
I believe that.
Yeah, Danny season.
I
don't see him
believe
stopping Danny.
Terence Crawford would knock Danny ass out.
Yeah, for sure. I believe that too.
Cause I don't think them guys got that what he got in him. That Terence got some different stuff in him, man.
Yeah,
He the brother that if you had a pistol on him, he probably would think he can get to you
Before you shoot.
before you shoot.
Hey, and on
He have
note-
that attitude.
And on that note, on the Main Event Podcast, who you got?
What I got is
Terence.
I hope both of those guys make a bunch of money.
Oh, they will.
Yeah.
They will.
Yeah.
They will.
But I don't never want to see Earl Spence lose. I don't never want to see Terence Crawford lose.
Somebody gonna have to.
But I ain't never gonna bet against Terence Crawford at 47.
Yeah, I ain't either.
And I wouldn't bet against Earl Spence. But if him and Terence Crawford fight each other,
Come on now.
this is my answer.
Come on, Main Event Podcast.
I would hate to see any one of the brothers lose because I like them both.
You got to pick one. Is that the answer?
I can't pick one but what I will say,
Come on now.
boy, that Terence Crawford is tough as nails.
Come on. You might as well
That's a
say
tough
Terrence's
guy.
name
That-
then.
that's
You
what it
might as well
sound
say
like.
Terrence
I
gonna
ain't got to
win.
say Terrence's name. But what I will say, I'm not gonna never bet against Terence
Nah,
Crawford.
you can't bet against it. So
That's what
it's
I
safe
would
to
say.
say
That's
when they
fair.
do fight, you ain't betting. You
Well, I
just
could
watching.
just say, I don't even want you to pick and choose, but you know, one thing I know about you,
What's that?
you gonna say what it is.
You know
and,
I am.
And they can come find you at the barber company if they want to.
7320 South Rainbow, Suite 111, baby.
Now,
I'm right here.
I don't know. I don't even want to put you two brothers on the spot and say who y'all think will win.
Can I
between
tell you?
them.
I'm gonna say it. I didn't seen it. I didn't seen both of them. I didn't analyze both of them.
Spill it.
Now I'm like, hold on, let me build up my drama. I got to build up his suspense. No, I'm just playing because we gonna wrap up soon. But after I seen what I seen, I wouldn't be mad if it was a draw. Because I honestly believe the only difference between Sean Porter and Earl Spence fight was the knockdown. Had that not been a knockdown, to me, that fight would have been a draw. That's what I think. Now, if Terence Crawford and Earl fight, I think that can happen. But I think that between both fighters and I done watched, Terence might be a little bit more smarter than Earl. And I only say this because Earl got caught up in Sean Porter type fight. He didn't box Sean like he should have, personally. It looked like he got in the phone booth with Sean and wanted to prove he could fight a dog in a dog fight. I personally don't think Terence gonna fight like that. I think whatever fight is established, Terence is a little smarter to flip it and analyze it and pull away at the end. So I think Terence win. Or it's gonna be a draw. And that's my take.
I'm going with I can't choose right now.
Let me go with your phrase. You pray you ain't in that situation. You don't want to pick. You pray you ain't in that situation.
Well,
But yeah, that's what
the
you
reason
got.
why, you know me, I'm a last minute predictor. I'll say one thing, and then the day of the fight, I'll come in like I did on the Teofimo fight and tell you what I really think, because I'm gonna keep analyzing and seeing, because he got another fight ahead of him. First, I need to see what he gonna do against Danny Garcia.
I think
This
the
is
way
his first fight back since the accident and since the corona, since all that. I need to see where he at first. You can't look past this fight that he got ahead of him.
Nah, Danny ain't no scrub.
They're all professionals. Anybody can get caught. You see what I'm saying? So you need to get past this fight first, and then we can start talking about the next fight, because this ain't no easy fight that he's gonna fight.
No, it ain't easy, but I personally think he gonna beat Danny. I mean, Danny a good fighter. Shout out to you, Danny. You rep Philly, baby. You held it down. Yeah, for sure. I just think Danny a little too flat-footed for Earl, and that's gonna be the problem.
But when you start, see, this is boxing.
For sure.
When you start counting people out,
I'm not counting.
You know,
I'm counting him out, but I'm not.
No. No, I mean, I just don't want to count Danny out. I don't think he's gonna win, but I believe the fighters that I like them to just go ahead and take care of the people in front of them before I start putting them in other fights. Because I'll be real disappointed if Danny caught him with one and then, you know, he's on that canvas. That could happen. Doubt it if it do, but it's boxing.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, you know, this is the Main Event Podcast. Can you put us on the spot to give you our take? I told you I thought was going to win.
You did that.
Mike don't want to be in the situation to make a choice.
You're right.
You know, we just want to stay out of it. And let the chips fall where they may. But thank you for coming down, man. We appreciate you, man. None other than Antonio Leonard right here. Took the time out of his busy schedule. I've been talking to him about coming down for months now, and he came through. Jay, you got to come through, baby. I know it's only a matter of time for you to get here. But I'm Tawan Butler. That's Mike Risper over there. And I appreciate you coming, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
Pleasure to be here.
The one and only.
Always welcome, anytime.
You know you always welcome, whether the camera's on or not, baby. You know you welcome.
And if you haven't been on the Main Event, you guys need to get on this show.
Amen.
The energy is unbelievable.
Thank you.
Amen.
We got to tell Winky we need him.
All them brothers. I will get them all on
Tell
there.
Winky we need. We hollered at Roy a little bit over the FaceTime, but tell Roy we need to holler at him after he whooped Mike by decision.
Oh,
Well,
now listen. I have Roy. You know I do.
Yeah.
But they started fumbling with them rules. It's kind of like it's turning on in my favor, you know, and like the glove, the 2-minute rounds, you know, because, you know, I'm thinking, you know, Mike ain't gonna last 3-minute rounds, no, eight rounds. I'm thinking
Mike can barely last 9 rounds in his prime. I don't think he gonna last.
With all that being said, I don't know. If Mike might whoop Roy with them extra rules.
I mean, the public want to see a good old-fashioned Mike Tyson knockout. That's what everybody going to pay for, to relive the Mike era. But I just personally think if this fight go the distance. Have you watched this podcast? Mike Tyson smoked blunts as he's interviewing people. As he's in training. I mean, I don't know if he's doing it, but I'm just saying. All that blunt cigars in the lungs. And if you had problems going the distance in your prime, that's why you was knocking everybody out there. You 50-something, you might have a little problem. And you smoking on the daily.
They took a minute off the round. That's what I'm saying.
Right. You might know. Mike was probably like, y'all know I've been smoking. Take a minute off that round.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
2 minutes, 3 minutes is a huge difference when you're in that ring.
Oh, for sure.
And I think they're giving him an advantage. That's just my opinion.
But we gonna see on the Main Event Podcast. We thank y'all for watching, tuning in every week. All we do is try to deliver the best content we can. We at the Barber Company, 7320 South Rainbow, Suite 111. Come get faded, come get braided. Whatever you do, just come on down. Tawan Butler, Mike Risper, Antonio Leonard. The resume is impeccable. I ain't gotta run it down again.
Indeed.
We'll see y'all next week. Peace.